What's up, everyone? I'm Stacy, and I grew up in New Jersey with my mom and older sister. Make sure you like and subscribe. My sister Kelly and I had the tightest bond. Even though Kelly's 10 years older than me, we get along really well and do everything together. We cook, watch TV shows, kick around the ball in the garden, everything. Hey sis, where are you? In a minute, I'll be right out. That was Kelly. We told each other everything. When Kelly had her first kiss, I was the first one she told. We were inseparable. I loved my mom so much too, but, well, she was kinda strange. She acted really childish all the time. She only wore Barbie clothes, and she always had her hair in pigtails and talked in a baby voice. Whenever people saw my mom and sister together in public, they always thought they were sisters instead of mom and daughter. Or even worse, they thought Kelly was the mom. Kelly said, "Hey, listen, the reason why my mom acted this way was because right after you were born, our mom went to this rodeo show. As the riders struggled to hold on to the buckling horse, one of the horse's shoes came loose and came flying towards my mom. It hit her right in the head and she blacked out. One of the riders screamed, 'John, you really did it now. We're gonna get sued for this.' When she came to, she started acting like a 5-year-old and was never the same." It's not like my mom can't look after herself, but she isn't exactly the most socially apt person. Take this time, for example. When I was 14, Kelly took us to the carnival. When we arrived, we went to get some food straight away. Everything looked so delicious. Mom wanted a bit of everything. "I want cotton candy." "No, Mom, you'll upset your stomach." "Cotton candy." "Mom, you can't have it." Mom stomped her feet like a child, then fell to the ground. Everyone around us was staring at her like she was an alien. Someone in the crowd yelled, "Hey, get her out of here. She needs to be in a crazy house." Kelly and I were so embarrassed. We dragged Mom away, and as we left, I noticed this one kid who was really staring at us. But I was too overwhelmed to pay him any mind. We ended up leaving the carnival right away, and I didn't even get to go to any of the rides. When we arrived home, Kelly pulled me aside and said, "Hey, from now on, we will be keeping Mom at home. No one can know about Mom, okay? That means no sleepovers or playdates at our house." I nodded. I wasn't sure why Kelly so desperately wanted to keep Mom a secret, but I trusted my sister, so I agreed. The next day was the first day of school, and when the teacher came in, she said we had a new kid in our class. A really cute boy walked in, and a part of me felt like I knew him. Where do I know him from? Then it hit me like a brick to the skull. The carnival! He was the boy who had witnessed my mom's tantrum. Oh no! Kelly said no one could know about Mom, but this boy could leak the secret to everyone. "Hi, I'm Mike." When Mike sat down, he made eye contact with me and his eyes widened. Oh no, he recognized me too. It was all over. When the lunch bell rang, I knew I had to come up with a plan. I bolted to the cafeteria and searched desperately for Mike. Soon, I spotted him sitting at the table on his own. I rushed over and sat next to him. "Hi, Mike. I'm Stacy." "Oh, hi, Stacy." "Listen, what you saw at the carnival, it's nothing to worry about. Just, I would really appreciate it if you could keep what you saw private." "Oh, of course. Well, I will on one condition." I was so shocked. A condition? "Yeah, you have to be my friend." I laughed. "Oh, that's nothing. Of course we can be friends." We shook hands and spent the rest of lunch together, and I discovered Mike was actually a really sweet and funny guy. Whenever he looked at me or touched me, I would feel butterflies rise up in my stomach. What was this feeling? At home, I told Kelly about Mike and how I had solved the problem. "Don't worry, he promised not to tell anyone about Mom." "See, that's great, but you can't be friends with Mike. You shouldn't speak to him. What if you have a fight and he uses this as blackmail? You just have to ignore him and hope he gets the message." I was sad because I was really looking forward to see Mike again, but I decided to trust my sister again and do as she said. The next day in history class, I sat at the back of the classroom. Mike walked in, spotted me, and sat down beside me. "Hey, Stacy." I said nothing. Mike looked super confused. Stacy? Hello?" I turned around facing the left wall. "Stacy, why are you ignoring me? Did I do something wrong?" I felt so terrible. This was wrong. but I had to listen to my sister.
Stace, oh my God, look at Miss Turner.
Curiosity got the better of me, and I watched as Miss Turner walked in with her hair all in a mess.
It looks like a bird decided to make a nest on her head.
I giggled. Stop it!
Seriously, what did she use to brush her hair? A pitchfork?
I laughed louder now. Miss Turner shrieked at me to quiet down, and I did. But then I turned to Mike. Sorry for ignoring you. I was thinking about something.
That's fine. We still friends?
I nodded. Yeah. Okay, I know what you're thinking. What about what Kelly said? But I really liked Mike, and besides, what harm could he do? As it turned out, it seemed he could do a lot of harm. That weekend, I asked Mike to come to my house for a study session. Really, I was just using studying as an excuse to hang out with him outside of school. When he arrived, I got him to climb in through my window. He was sort of confused, but when I told him about my sister, he agreed it was probably better to keep this all a secret. In my room, we got our history homework out and started working on the questions. All right, first question. Why did Germany invade Poland?
You're so beautiful.
I nearly choked on my own saliva. What?
You're beautiful, Stacy. I'm sorry, I don't want to make things weird. I just had to say it.
I looked at Mike lying there with his cute little curls of hair, and I don't know what came over me. But what I did next shocked Mike to his core. I leaned over and kissed him. Then the worst possible thing happened. Someone knocked on my door. Stacy, I'm coming in. No! I rushed over and shut the door. That was close. Stacy, is something wrong? No, what's going on? I'm doing a TikTok dance. Huh? Just don't come in, okay? Okay. Kelly left and we breathed a sigh of relief.
TikTok dance?
Shut up. But then I turned and found a face looking in through my window. Kelly! She looked furious. She climbed into my room and shouted, "What is this boy doing here?" Mike, you should leave. Mike nodded and ran out of there. When he was gone, I turned to Kelly, but she was already on me. Stacy, you can't be bringing anyone here, understand? Mom has to be kept a secret. But why? I don't care if people tease us about it. I love Mom. I know, but you just have to trust me on this. We have to keep things secret. You can't see Mike anymore. No, Kelly, you can't. That's enough. I bit my lip. Kelly had never shouted at me before. Kelly ran her hand through her hair. Look, I have to go to work. I have a shift at the diner. I'll see you later. Kelly left and I sat down and cried on my own. That night, Kelly had a late shift, so I tucked Mom into bed. Are you okay, Stacy? Yeah, Mom, it's just... Oh, don't worry. You're going to sleep now. I kissed Mom on the forehead and went to leave, but my foot tripped on something and I slammed onto the floor. I rubbed my knee painfully. I looked to see what I had fallen on and noticed a box under the bed. Curious, I opened it up. What I found sent my whole world spinning. It was a box full of dozens of newspaper articles and reports about my mom, and it revealed that she was actually a patient at a mental hospital. Well, an ex-patient. She had escaped and ran away many years ago. There was a police report included that demanded for her to return. I struggled to process all of this. It felt like someone had opened up my brain and poured some sugar on it. Nothing made sense. What was even stranger was that they had listed my mom's date of birth as too early. According to this file, my mom was only 10 years older than me. That wasn't possible. How could she have given birth to me at 10 years of age? And what was even stranger was that her birthday was at the exact same date as Kelly. What did this all mean? I heard Kelly's car pulling in, so I hurriedly packed everything and sprinted into my room, diving into my bed before Kelly was even at the doorstep. I would confront Kelly about this tomorrow. The next morning at breakfast, we were sitting at the dinner table. Listen, Kelly. No, Stacy, it's all right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled at you. That's okay. Kelly, I want syrup. What's the magic word? Please. Here. Stacy, I'm sorry about what I said. I've thought about it and you can see Mike. If he promises not to tell anyone and you trust him, then I trust him. I screamed with joy and launched myself at Kelly, hugging her tight. Thank you! Yay! We laughed at Mom, and afterwards I texted Mike and asked him to come to dinner that night. Roughly 10 hours later, Mike knocked at the door and I let him in. Kelly made casserole and the first half of the dinner went really well. But then the second half came and, well, let's just say things weren't exactly smooth running. The whole time I was thinking about the secret box I had found. I was dying to ask Kelly about it. Eventually, I couldn't hold it in any longer. Kelly, I found the secret box that said Mom was a mental patient and escaped. Kelly froze. Mike dropped his glass, which shattered on the ground. Mom looked a little confused but continued to play with her Barbie dolls. Stacy, not now. Kelly was eyeing Mike, but I didn't care. No, if Mike's gonna be my boyfriend, he deserves to know too. Mike nodded.
It's okay. I won't tell.
Fine. You asked for the truth? Here it is. Mom was a mental patient, but I broke her out of the mental hospital and have kept her in hiding ever since. You broke Mom out? Listen, Stacy, what I'm gonna say next will shock you, so just brace yourself. I nodded nervously. Mom isn't your mom. She's our sister. What? You don't remember this because you were too young, but a very long time ago, our real mom passed away. I saw this as the perfect opportunity to break Lily out of the mental hospital. She could take on the alias as our mother. So, our real mom is dead? Yes, I'm so sorry, Stacy. I know this is a lot to take in. So, that's why the file said Lily has the same birthday as you? Kelly nodded. We're twins, Stacy. There's a reason why we look so similar. It all made sense now. The mental hospital reports, the secrecy, Mom's childish behavior, it all made sense. But it didn't mean it was easy to process. In the end, we all hugged and agreed it was best to keep our sister Lily's past a secret. Mike promised he wouldn't tell a soul. The next day at school, I was walking down the hallway, but people started pointing and laughing at me. Curious, I asked my friend what had happened, and she showed me a post online from some anonymous account. I opened it up and felt my blood run cold. It was a post revealing everything about Lily, her past in the mental hospital, the missing report, everything. Who could have done this? Then I realized only one person knew about this outside of our family, Mike. As if I had called upon the devil, I heard Mike's voice behind me.
Stacy, did you see what happened online? Who posted that?
Seriously? You're gonna play dumb with me? Mike stopped.
What?
You're the only one who knows, Mike. How could you have done this?
Wait, Stace, I didn't post this. You have to believe me.
I'm not an idiot, Mike. We're over. I turned my back on him and stormed off. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Kelly. Come home, now. I rushed home as fast as I could, but when I arrived, there were 3 police cars outside our house and a bunch of reporters. I pushed and shoved my way through the crowd, finally emerging on 2 police officers escorting Mom away. Kelly was walking beside them, begging them to let her stay. Lily! Kelly! Hello, darling. I grabbed hold of Lily and held her tight. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I shouldn't have let Mike in on our secret. Lily patted my head. It wasn't Mike. What? Kelly looked confused too. Lily, what did you do? Lily smiled apologetically. Kelly, you work too hard. You look after me and I know it's difficult. So I was the one who posted it online. It's time to go back and get some help at the mental hospital. What? Don't worry about me. You two live your life. You're the best sisters ever. Besides, the mental hospital has free ice cream. But Lily... Lily walked to Kelly and put her hand on her shoulder. It's okay. This is the right thing to do. Kelly wiped away her tears and nodded. We all hugged, then the police took Lily away. As we stood there side by side, I knew things were going to be difficult. But Lily was right. It was the right thing to do.
Hello, my name is Sky, and I'm from New York. Please like and subscribe to find out how my 15th birthday wish ruined my life. When I was 5, I woke up to find my mother kneeling by my bed. A voodoo doll was on my chest, and Mom had her hands over the doll, chanting some strange words. I screamed and sat up from my bed. What are you doing, Mommy? Sit still, child, otherwise the magic won't work. The voodoo doll was creeping me out, so I grabbed it and threw it across the room. Mom gasped and raised her hand as if to slap me. You foolish girl! Why did you do that? Now we'll never be able to fix your ugly face. What do you mean you're scaring me, Mommy? I was trying to take away that ugliness and put it in the doll. The fortune teller said it worked. Do you know how much I paid for it? Now it's ruined and you're going to be ugly forever. With that, she picked up the doll and left the room, slamming the door behind her. I cried and couldn't sleep all night thinking about how scary Mom was acting. I grew up convinced that Mom hated me because she never missed a chance to pick on me and remind me how ugly I was. I had crooked teeth and got braces as soon as I joined high school. My vision was terrible, so I had to wear thick glasses that covered half my face. One time, when I was in 2nd grade, my Aunt Patty and my baby cousin Nessa came to visit. At night, I was woken up by Nessa crying uncontrollably. I went to her room to check and found her all alone. I called out for Aunt Patty, but she didn't respond. I picked up Nessa to comfort her, but I stepped on one of her toys, tripped, and fell on my back with baby Nessa. She wasn't hurt, but she started crying even louder in panic. Just then, Mom walked in and picked her up. What's wrong with you, Sky? Are you trying to kill your cousin because she's prettier than you? It's not like that. I tried to pick her up and then I fell. That's a lie. I saw you trying to hurt her. Get out of my sight now. But Mom, I said now. I bolted out the door and bumped into Auntie at the door. I hugged her tightly, crying. I'm so sorry, Aunt Patty. I didn't mean to drop Nessa. Please believe me.
Hey, calm down, sweetheart. Tell me what happened.
I tried to explain, but Mom interrupted, saying that I was lying and that I was really trying to kill Nessa. Aunt Patty wiped my tears and comforted me as Mom sneered at us and kept warning Aunt Patty not to trust me. My mom was the worst, you guys. As you can imagine, I wasn't very popular at school. I only had 2 friends, Ken and Maggie. We had been friends since middle school and were inseparable. Lately, I'd started to notice Ken stealing glances, and whenever I caught him staring, he'd blush and stammer. It was so obvious he was crushing on me. Ken was really cute, but I had my eyes on Brandon, the hottest boy in our class. Brandon only ever talked to me when he wanted me to do his homework, and I did do it for a while until Ken convinced me not to anymore. I decided that Ken was right. I'd had enough of Brandon using me, so guess what I did? One day, I waited for him to hand me his math homework, and I threw his book so high in the air, it hit the ceiling. Hey, what did you do that for? I'm tired of being your servant. You can do your own homework from now on. You're gonna regret this. You're lucky I even let you touch my books. He collected his books and stormed out of class. Little did I know, I was going to regret what I'd just done. Every day, after spending the whole day ogling Brandon, I'd go home and write in my secret diary about all the fantasies I had about him. I wrote page after page of made-up scenes of Brandon being my knight in shining armor, Brandon kissing me in front of the entire school, Brandon and I wearing matching outfits. Okay, that last one was a little cringy, even for me. I felt very pathetic, pining over a boy who'd never be mine. A boy who I'd just yelled at, actually. So you can imagine my surprise when, at my 15th birthday party, Brandon and his friends showed up. I was so nervous. I must have ran to the bathroom more than 10 times trying to fix my face. I was gathering courage to talk to him when Maggie walked out of the kitchen carrying my birthday cake.
Blow the candles and make a wish, bestie.
I was so excited to make my wish, but as soon as I blew the candles, someone pushed my face into the cake and everyone started laughing and taking photos and recording videos. I looked ghastly with cake all over my already messy hair and giant ugly glasses.
Oh my god, I didn't know it was possible for her to get even uglier. What a freak.
All the kids laughed even louder. Embarrassed, I ran to my bedroom and locked myself in the bathroom. Ken followed me and stood outside my bathroom door, begging me to come out. He sat on my bed waiting, but he finally gave up and left. After a while, I came out to get my diary and read it because it always made me feel better, but it wasn't where I'd left it. I frantically looked for it and was about to go into full panic mode when I saw it behind the door. How did it even get there? The only other person who'd been in my room was Ken, but he'd never touched my diary. If someone read my diary, I'd never show my face at school ever again. I put the diary in the drawer and slumped on my bed and fell asleep. That's right, I fell asleep at my own birthday party. Also, I should have opened my diary, but I didn't. And that's how I walked into a nightmare at school the following day. As soon as I walked into class, everyone looked up. Was this about my face and my birthday cake? I thought they'd have forgotten about that by now. I was about to take my seat when Brandon stood in my way, a few papers in his hands. I told you, I'm not doing your homework anymore. Instead of answering me, he started to read one of the papers out loud. Brandon was wearing a really tight shirt today. He looked so hot, I thought I was gonna melt. As he went on, half laughing and half reading, I came to a horrible realization. The papers he was holding were from my diary. I tried to grab them from him, but he held them higher and continued to read. On my 15th birthday, I wish to kiss Brandon just once. His voice was high-pitched. I guess he was trying to sound like me? That was my birthday wish, and now Brandon was reading it out loud in front of the whole class. Give it back, Brandon, please. Do you know how ugly you are? And do you think I'd actually waste my time with someone like you? Everyone burst out laughing. Honestly, Sky, I'd only ever kiss you if you paid me. And even then, I'd have to be blindfolded so I don't have to look at your ugly face. Just then, Ken stood up and punched him hard in the face, and a fight broke out. I got caught in the middle of it, and my glasses fell off. I went down on all fours to look for them, but Brandon stepped on them, crushing them into tiny pieces. Boy, did I regret ever making that birthday wish. I finally managed to slip out of there, and Ken followed me. Sky, wait! No, leave me alone, Ken. You have to listen to me. I know it was you who leaked my diary, Ken. You're the only one who was in my room. No, I didn't. Don't lie. You always say that I'm wasting my time liking Brandon. I guess you were right. You won. Now stay away from me. And with that, I ran out of there, not giving him a chance to talk. I didn't show up in school for the next couple of days, and instead, I went to visit Aunt Patty. While there, I told her everything that had happened, and as always, she had a solution.
Let's give you a makeover, shall we?
I couldn't contain my excitement. Aunt Patty owned a salon, and I always envied her clients. She always made them look so pretty and fancy. We spent the next few days working on my new look. And let me tell you guys, forget about Mom's voodoo doll. Aunt Patty was a magician. She turned me from a pumpkin into Cinderella. She applied a lot of stuff to my hair and gave me a haircut. Next, she threw away my hideous glasses and bought me contacts, which I must admit were uncomfortable, but I was ready to do just about anything to look pretty. Finally, she took me to have my 3-year-old braces removed. She even bought me a whole new wardrobe. When I finally went to school, I looked so different that nobody recognized me. The moment Brandon saw me, he took my hand and introduced himself. Oh, let me show you around, new girl. My name is Brandon. Brandon, it's me, Sky. Was I about to reveal my identity to Brandon and have him reject me again? No way. So, I cleared my throat and lied to him. Skylar. My name is Skylar. It's lovely to meet you, Princess Skylar. Please, walk with me. Did you hear that? Brandon just called me a princess. For the next couple of weeks, I had all of Brandon's attention. I was having so much fun, I completely forgot about Ken and Maggie. One day in class, Brandon leaned over to kiss me. I was nervous and happy at the same time. My 15th birthday wish was about to come true. I closed my eyes and waited, but instead of warm lips, a very cold hand landed on my mouth, shoving me backwards. I opened my eyes ready to pounce, but stopped when I saw Ken standing there. Did he recognize me? I panicked and shoved him right back.
What's wrong with you? How can you seriously be interested in Brandon after everything he put you through?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, come on. I know it's you, Sky. Just because you got a makeover doesn't mean you're a different person. You're still the same girl Brandon treated like trash a few weeks ago.
The whole class gasped. My name is Skylar. I don't know who Sky is.
You can fool everyone else, but you can't fool me. Why did you change yourself?
There was no point in lying anymore. I was ugly and no one liked me.
You're wrong. I like you, and I still do. You were never ugly to me. I waited for you to like me back, but you were so busy trying to get Brandon's attention.
Ken walked towards me, but then Maggie grabbed me and pulled me away from Ken. Maggie, what's going on?
I can't take this anymore. You don't deserve Ken. I like him, but all he cares about is you.
We listened in shock as Maggie confessed that she was the one who leaked my diary pages because she was jealous and wanted to humiliate me. And just when I thought she was done talking, she said something even more shocking.
When you came back all glammed up, I made a deal with Brandon. I paid him to distract you.
I turned to Brandon. You knew it was me this whole time? Don't look at me like that. You came back looking smoking hot. Also, how could I say no to money? You're disgusting. Oh, please. Don't pretend like you didn't enjoy it. I couldn't believe how arrogant Brandon was. What did I ever see in him? I took Ken's hand, but Brandon grabbed me and pulled me to him. Where are you going, princess? We're not done yet. Are you seriously choosing this lame guy over me? I pushed him away and looked him dead in the eye. I'm still the ugly Sky that you humiliated weeks ago. Come on now, princess. You could never be that ugly chick. You know I don't hang around those kinds of people. Now come closer and let me grant you your birthday wish. He tried to kiss me, but I slapped him hard and stamped on his foot. Stay far away from me. I took Ken's hand again and we walked out of class. I had no idea where we were going, but I was too happy to care.
Hello everyone, my name's Ling and I'm from China. I was part of the biggest rebel group, the Crows, and it was our goal to take down the cruel Emperor Zhang. He was the meanest ruler you could ever imagine. He spat on the poor, stole whatever he wanted, and never gave back to the people. It was my job to infiltrate his place and find evidence for what would bring Emperor Zhang down for good. I walked onto the street of the bustling marketplace, dressed in the prettiest Shangsam dress I could find. This was the only day Emperor Zhang would be taking a stroll through the village marketplace for at least another year. I couldn't blow this opportunity. Sure enough, I started to hear guards and loud voices down the street as Emperor Zhang and his guards forced their way through the crowds of people. Make way, peasants! I readied myself. Then, just as they were passing by, I walked over and pretended to fall in front of them. Oh, excuse me, Your Highness. I looked up, batting my eyes at the Emperor. Oh! Emperor Zhang smiled like an old creep and helped me to my feet. Aren't you a pretty little thing? I shivered inwardly and forced a smile. Why, thank you, Your Highness. You're not so bad yourself. Oh, what is your name, miss? May. May, where do you come from? I looked down, faking nervousness. Well, I have no family. I've been trying to earn money in this village, but no one will hire me. I work very hard and... Why, come to my palace. We could use some beauty for a change. He leaned in to whisper, Let me tell you, the other maids at my place are stupid old hags. We would love to have you. I tried to stop myself from punching him right in his bearded chin. Of course, thank you. Wei, an advisor rushed forward. Sort out having May join our palace maid service. Of course. Emperor Zhang then left without another word, while I watched him leave. His advisor quickly wrote down a note of instructions on how to get to the palace and when I would begin. Then he left too. I watched them turn the corner when Liu, my partner rebel member, suddenly appeared. Well done! He clapped me on the back. Thanks, but the hard part isn't over yet.
No, you're right, Liu grinned. But the fun part is just beginning too.
A week later, I arrived at the Emperor's palace. It was a giant fortress of stone and red tiles. Truly beautiful. But I knew the Emperor had to perform a lot of evil to build this giant palace. I walked in, got through the guards with my papers, and went over to the servants' quarters, way at the back of the palace. This part of the building was not nearly as extravagant or luxurious. It was quite dirty, to be honest. Here, my supervisor handed me a list of chores. Complete them by today, or you won't get any dinner. I nodded, then looked down. I groaned. There was so much to do. I wouldn't have any time to do some snooping to find evidence against the Emperor. This was a lot harder than I thought it would be. Later, I was at the entrance to the palace, repainting the columns with red paint. But it had to be done if I had any hope of taking the Emperor down. What are you doing, imbecile? I spun around. My supervisor was storming towards me with a look that could kill. What? You're using the wrong shade of red! The wrong shade? But this is the only one that was there. Please. She grabbed the bucket from my hands and dumped it all over me. I screamed as paint got into my eyes. You stupid girl! Why, I oughta… What's going on here? I couldn't see anything through the red paint, but I thought I heard my supervisor back away quickly. Oh, you're… How dare you treat this innocent woman this way? I'm sorry. Go on. You can leave us. I'll handle this. Of course, of course. My supervisor scampered away as I heard the man approach me. Miss, are you okay? He sounded so gentle. I heard movement and suddenly I could see clearly. He had wiped away the paint from my eyes with his shirt. I gasped when I finally saw him. He was so handsome and he looked so concerned. Come, let's get you cleaned up. The man led me outside to a well and pumped up some water so I could wash off the paint. When I had fully cleaned myself, the man couldn't stop staring at me. What is it? The man shook his head, looking away. Was he blushing? Oh, nothing. It's just, you're beautiful. I felt my knees tremble. Had he really just said that? What's your name? I hesitated, biting back my words. I was about to say my real name. I couldn't let myself blow my cover so easily. May. Li Mei? No, just May. Oh, well, nice to meet you, May. Nice to meet you too. Nianzu. Nice to meet you, Nianzu. We stood there just staring for a while. It was really quite strange when Nianzu finally spoke. Listen, May, do you want to meet again sometime? Are you asking me out on a date? Nianzu blushed. I was embarrassed by my bluntness, but I was just so shocked. Well, yes, actually. What do you say? I should have said no. This wasn't part of the mission, but for some reason I said yes. Great. Shall we meet in the garden tomorrow? Let's say at midday? I nodded. Again, why didn't I say no then? Perfect. See you then, May. He left, while I was too stunned to move. The next day, I showed up in the palace gardens at midday during my lunch break. I shouldn't have showed up, and yet, there I was. What was wrong with me? The bell struck, signaling midday, and still Nianzu hadn't showed up. I was a fool. I should just leave. I turned around to head back to my room when I stopped in my tracks. There he was. When I saw him, I began to understand why I'd agreed to meet him. He was so handsome, and his smile, it made my heart melt. Good day, May. Hello, Nianzu. We strolled through the gardens for a while, enjoying each other's company and chatting for a while. Nianzu seemed like the perfect man. He was kind, funny, handsome. I was starting to lose track of the real reason why I was here. There was one moment, though, that was kind of strange. I was asking him about his job. So, what do you do here at this palace? Nianzu looked away. I'm one of the lower food catering managers. Oh, I see. Why did he seem suddenly nervous? But I just decided to brush the thought away. But there was something else that happened that was pretty strange. As we were walking, I noticed everyone else in the garden staring at us a lot. Why would they be staring at a maid and some low-level food manager like Nianzu? It didn't make much sense. But again, I brushed the thought aside. How I wish I'd paid more attention to it all. We made it to the outskirts of the garden, where there was no one around. Nianzu walked over to a bush and picked a rose for me. Here, a pretty rose for a beautiful woman. I accepted it, and I don't know what came over me. I leaned in and kissed him on the cheek. He blushed like crazy, and I'm pretty sure I was blushing like crazy too. Do you want to meet tonight at the lake? Oh, but of course, perhaps at 7? Sounds good. I smiled and we parted ways. As I headed back to my room, I heard, psst. Suddenly, I spotted Liu. I forgot to mention, while I had managed to infiltrate the palace as a maid, Liu had become a gardener as well. Liu waved me over. Hi, Liu.
What are you doing?
Huh?
Why are you hanging around with that man?
I blushed. Liu, don't worry about that. It's all a part of the plan.
Why would you?
Just leave it, okay? Liu snapped his mouth shut. He looked hurt.
Fine, whatever. Just remember why we're here.
You don't think I know? I rolled my eyes and stormed off, but I knew Liu was right. Despite all of this, that night I still showed up at the lake. Nianzhu and I had the most romantic evening. He took me out on the boat and we drifted off underneath the moonlight.
May, is it just me or does it feel like we were destined to meet?
I glanced at him. I feel the same way. I was shocked by my words, but I realized it was the truth. Suddenly I felt his hand on mine. It was the most romantic thing I'd ever experienced. Later, we docked the boat back on land and we said goodbye.
I'll see you soon.
We hugged and he left. I was about to turn to head back home when Liu suddenly appeared again out of the darkness.
May!
No! Liu, you gotta stop doing that.
Why were you kissing that man?
Oh, Liu, can't you see? I'm getting closer to finding the Emperor's secrets now more than ever.
How?
Through Nianzhu.
That man? How is he so important? What is his job?
May? He's a food manager.
What? You're doing all this for some lowly food manager? That won't help us take down the Emperor.
Quiet down, someone will hear you.
May, you're not doing this for the mission. You're doing this for your own selfish heart. And you shouldn't even be with him. You should,
Liu trailed off.
Look, it doesn't matter. Just stick to the mission, all right?
I sighed. Liu was right. I've been here a week and found nothing so far. Okay, Liu, I promise I'll focus. Tonight, I'll sneak into the Emperor's office. I promise I won't let you down.
Good, your country depends on you.
Liu left and I took a deep breath, suddenly anxious. It was time to get to business. That very night, I sneaked through the palace, making use of my maid attire to get past guards and the other people walking by, though there weren't that many this late at night. Finally, I made it to the Emperor's personal office. 2 guards were at the door. Instead, I climbed around the outer wall and through the window. It was almost too easy. Inside, I sifted through all the drawers until I came upon a file labeled with the words, List of Assassinated Rebels. I gasped. This was it. This was the evidence we needed that could bring down Emperor Zhang. Once the people saw how he had been killing innocent people just to maintain his rule, they would fight back against him. I reached out for the file, but right at that moment, the door to the office opened. Someone was entering. It was too late. I couldn't grab the file, so I just hid beneath the desk. I couldn't see who it was, but suddenly I heard a voice that I immediately recognized as Emperor Zhang.
Come here, son. Let me show you today's trading report. Yes, father.
I gasped. That voice. I would recognize it anywhere. That was Nianzhu's voice, which meant, no, it couldn't be. Nianzhu was the Emperor's son? While they talked, I prayed to God they wouldn't come by to sit by the desk. They would instantly find me. Suddenly, I heard footsteps, and there was Nianzhu. He went to open a drawer and made eye contact with me.
Nianzhu, what's taking you so long?
I silently pleaded to Nianzhu. Would he turn me in?
Nothing, father.
Nianzhu opened the door, grabbed whatever he needed, and handed it over to the Emperor.
Why don't you head off first? I'll catch up. I just need to fill in some more reports. I won't be long. Well, okay, son. I'll see you later.
The door closed, and it was just me and Nianzhu left. I left my hiding spot and grabbed the file that could be used against the Emperor. Nianzhu approached me.
What are you doing here?
I hesitated. Should I tell him the truth or make up an excuse? I'm part of the rebels. I came here to gather evidence that could dethrone Emperor Zhang. Nianzhu just looked at me.
Oh.
Why didn't you tell me you were the Emperor's son?
Because I didn't want you to treat me differently.
Seriously? Hey now, you lied about your identity too. Listen, Nianzhu, your father, he's a terrible person. He kills, steals, lies.
I know.
I froze. You do?
Of course I do. You don't think I know? I'm the leader of your rebel group, the Crows.
My mouth dropped. You are?
Yes, I knew we were sending someone to the palace to infiltrate it, but I didn't know it was you.
Wow, well that's perfect then.
What do you mean?
We can leave and…
I can't leave the palace. I have to stay here so I can keep track of my father's evil schemes.
But…
You wretched being!
We gasped as the door was flung open and the Emperor, followed by his group of guards, burst in.
I suspected you were working against me.
Father, The Emperor turned to me.
You. I never should have trusted you. You bewitched me with your beauty.
I was still confused. How had the Emperor known? Why had he returned to his office? How did you know we were in here? The Emperor paused, then smiled evilly.
Oh, that?
He pointed behind him.
Your friend helped me out with that.
The guard shoved Liu in front. Liu looked so guilty.
Your friend was very eager to tell me about you.
Liu, how could you? Liu looked so sad.
Because I'm in love with you.
What?
You shouldn't be with him, Ling. You should be with me.
But why would you betray me?
You were getting too close to Nianzhu. My plan was to turn you in, then break you out of prison, and we could start again. We can defeat the Emperor again, but you cannot fall in love with Nianzhu.
I was too stunned to speak, but I felt Nianzhu grab hold of my hand.
Sorry, mister, but I'm in love with Mei. Well, I'm assuming her real name is Ling. And if you'll have me, Ling, would you?
I was torn. So much had transpired in such a short amount of time. But when I looked into Nianzhu's eyes, I knew what I had to do. Of course, love you. Nianzhu beamed. Suddenly, Emperor Zhang shrieked,
Seize them!
Nianzhu and I nodded at each other, then the battle began. We fought the Emperor's guards in an epic kung fu battle. I kicked one of his guards in the chest, sending him flying back like a bowling pin, knocking out the other guards and Liu in the process. Nianzhu dealt with the remaining guards. Then, he called me over to the windowsill.
No, get back here!
I turned around, gave Liu one last glance, then grabbed hold of Nianzhu. He took a firm grip of one of the lanterns attached to the rope hanging outside, and we ziplined down the rope all the way to the ground. We ran away as fast as we could, the file of evidence still in my hands, and left the palace behind us. We will be back, one day, and Emperor Zhang will face the force of justice.